One of the things when you're sourcing encoders is the challenge is that there are so many variants available, and which means that many people don't stock encoders, and so the lead times tend to be quite long. What we've got with the Bauma EIL580 is a programmable encoder, and what we'll see in the next few slides is the different variants and how the number of permutations increases as each variant changes. We're going to take a look at all the different aspects that are shown here on the arrows. The first one we're going to look at is the shaft options. So you've got two options here. You've got solid and on hollow shaft, and then within those you've got different sizes. The most typical sizes are a 6mm shaft, a 10mm solid shaft, and two of the more common hollow shafts are 12 and 14mm. So already we've got 8 variants. Then each one of these has a different mounting style. The typical mounting styles here we have for the 6mm solid shaft, you'd have a clamping flange. For the 10mm solid shaft, you'd have what's called a synchro flange, and then for hollow encoders, you'd have a mounting plate or a tether plate, as it's been described there. Then added to that, you've got the electrical connections, and these come in again a variety of options here. The most common M23 12-pin large plug-on an encoder, which you may have seen before. Something a little bit more recent is an M12 plug with an 8-pin connector, and then often encoders may have a 2-meter or 5-meter lead coming out the side or the back of the encoder. Then added to that, you've got different power supplies. Again, typically these would be the additional things that you need for an encoder would be the 5-volt TTL supply or a wider ranging 10 to 30 volt supply. Many encoders now have a wide range of supply from say 4.75 volts to 30, so that does encompass both of those, as again we'll see a little bit later. And then of course there's different outputs from the encoder. Again, most common RS422, sometimes people look at that as 5-volt TTL as well. Push-pull is a sort of sync and source, and then there's also push-pull complementary, where you've got the complementary channels to the A and B. So that gives you now a total of 576 variants. And the last thing that we're going to look at is actually the thing that can increase that number of variants into several thousand permutations. Here we've got the 12 most common pulse counts, and these are only a few of them. You might spot them and recognise that you've got many other pulse counts. The Bauma EIL580 can be programmed from 1 to 64,000 pulses, so you can imagine that would really take the number of permutations well beyond 7,000. So how do we actually get to the option for solving this? And the answer to the question is there is a better way, and the better way is the Bauma EIL580p. The encoder we've shown in these pictures is essentially that encoder. We have stock of the different variants, and it can be programmed from 1 to 64,000 pulses. So in essence we can supply several thousand variants of encoders from stock, and we have it with the Bauma EIL580. So hopefully that's given you a good overview of why encoders currently are on longish lead times, and the solution that we have that we can help you out with.